Hey yo, this series it's kind of fire. Before we hop in this discussion about Fire Force, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. What's up, guys? That guy with the pencil here, and yes, I made that pun in the intro because yes, I thought it was funny. All right, I'm a sick man. Wait, what were we talking about? What's up, guys? That guy with the pencil here, and Fire Force is kind of fire. I, I'm not gonna stop making the joke. It's built into the series title. I'm gonna keep making the joke, but is this series a joke? No, I think it's fine. Now note, when I say I started Fire Force, I mean I literally started Fire Force. I am a current solid 52 chapters in, so please don't spoil me. Please do not. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch the rest of this video. If you want my recommendation on whether or not you should read Fire Force, yes, you should read it. I have problems with the series that I'm going to go into so far, and I hope they change. However, if you yourself think, man, Fire Force looks pretty cool, either go watch the anime. It looks very beautifully animated. I'm just weird and I like manga. And if you also are like me and also like to read manga, please go ahead and read it. It's good so far. It's very good. I do have problems, but let's get into the positives first. Let's talk about the positives. I think Shinra is a very good main character, if only for the fact that he's a very realistic main character. Like, his quirk about smiling when he's nervous or anxious, that's more relatable to other people. I don't tend to do that. That's a very understandable character flaw. And I tend to, when characters suffer because of something they can't control, I tend to like characters for that, and Shinra suffers because, like I said, big spoilers, he killed his mom and supposedly his little brother, but it was a lie. But basically, he killed his mom through his fire ability spawning, and that's haunted him to this very day, but he also still wants to be a hero. And I respect the becoming a hero part. I also respect that he still has his limits. He still has his reasonings. He still wants to do things. He's still a good person. He understands the fundamentals of the Fire Force world and how, in some cases, being a hero is murder, because you have to kill some sentient beings such as some of the fire people. However, he still knows he has to do it in order to be a hero, to protect those who aren't fire beings, and I respect that. It takes a very strong character to understand that what they're doing is morally gray, but to keep pushing forward anyway, because they know if they don't do it, then the world's in much greater danger. I like characters like Shinra because they understand the world isn't as clean cut as it is. I have problems with other MCs because they just seem to believe that, no, killing is bad and I can never do it, even though when killing the opponent would likely be the best thing to do in that scenario. However, Shinra, I think he's a solid main character. I like his design. It's super simple. Of course he has the sharp teeth, but really the hair, everything is very simple about him. And honestly, I love his fighting style. There's something about like the usage of legs that you get so rarely in anime. Like, it's always usually fists. The occasional kick is thrown in there, but 99.9% of the time it is fists. So seeing Shinra primarily use his legs, it's just great to watch. Like, fire. But speaking of fire, man, Obi is my man. Yo, the captain of the squad. How you be a powerless Fire Force? How you be a powerless Fire Force Brigade member and still go up against the strongest Fire Force warrior and not instantly die? That's my boy. Obi, mad respect. Yes, I finished the Benimaru arc, and man, it slaps. We'll talk about Benimaru in a minute, but Obi, he does good. He does great work. He's I can tell he's very, very genuine in everything he does, and I respect that a lot in a character. I can tell that no matter how much the world throws at him, he still has set morals. And if this turns out to be a lie and he's the ultimate evil person in the end, even better, because he tricked me. Moving on to Arthur. Here's the thing. Arthur and Shinra have one of my favorite rivalries ever, because they're both idiots. They're both stone cold idiots, but they're still stone cold idiots that, like, absolutely despise each other. Like, here's the thing. I miss me a good rivalry. I miss me a good vitriol between two people that just happen to have to work together. Like, Goku and Vegeta, they don't really hate each other. Goku doesn't hate Vegeta. Vegeta's hate is mostly one-sided. Midoriya and Bakugo, their hate basically just appeared. Arthur and my young boy Shinra, their vitriol is so fun to watch, because like, they're still friends. You can understand that they're still friends, but in a moment's notice, they will punch each other in the mouth. And that's just my favorite kind of rivalry / friendship. do I say I have that kind of friendship with my people? But some of my friends, yes, we will insult the mess out of each other, but we still know we got each other's back. And one of my favorite moments in the series so far is when these two team up, only to realize, golly gee willikers, we're not good at teaming up because we both hate each other, only for them to figure it out and make it work. I think that's great. Wonderful. Iris, she's done. I mean, she led to the calming down and like alignment of, I think it was Brigade 5 with Hibana. She fixed that. I think that's fine. Do I wish she had done more? Yes, but obviously she's not necessarily a frontline combatant. It's not what she's there for. So it's fine. She's fulfilling her role just well enough. Oze, good character. Wish she does more. Hopefully she does more in the future. No, still only 52 chapters in. Don't know if she goes around and starts smacking people left and right. But till she does, she's okay for now. I like her ability, the manipulation of fire into actual like sentient creatures. It's pretty cool, and she's really good defensively, and she has some good defensive moments. But like nothing that hits, especially for her being this supposedly strong character. Like she doesn't necessarily do much, but that's so far. Obviously, we're gonna get a lot of focus on our main rival duo and I guess other characters before we get main focus on her. So hopefully she gets moments in the future so I can start liking her more. And honestly, Hinawa, I like him, but he unnerves me. I think that's supposed to be the thing. I think he's supposed to unnerve me. I like him a lot more after the recent arc and finding out his backstory and how he was initially working for the military, only to flip that on its head and decide to become a Fire Force Brigade member once he saw how cold and heartless the military was. I think that's great. So I think he has a cool character. I think he has a cool backstory. I think he has one of the most fire abilities. See, okay, that one wasn't even intentional. Like, some of these just fall out of my mouth because fire is a commonly used word in my vocabulary. But I think his ability is really, really cool, where he can manipulate the amount of pressure that the fire goes off with to manipulate his bullets, and he can manipulate the little bits of fire on the bullets to redirect them. That is really, really cool. It's a solid ability. Hope we can see more out of it because it's just great to watch. It just adds a whole nother dimension to how battles start. And I'm going to get into another reason I like this series so much in a bit. And Tamaki, the cat girl. No, I don't. No, we're going to get into that in the later critique part. And Benimaru, he slaps. He gives me massive Levi vibes. It's like he took Levi, Kakashi, and Aizawa, threw them all into a blender, put a little bit of jalapeno peppers in there, and suddenly you got Benimaru. The X and the O, he's calling every play. And if you haven't heard that DPS Fire Force song on Benimaru, go watch it now, because it's great. And now that I've actually read the manga, I understand that entire song now, because I listened to it the first time, I was like, what in the world is this talking about? And I'm getting off track. However, Benimaru, fantastic character. I love how he is like this king of destruction, but he's only that because it's the one thing he knows how to do, because he's a fire wielder, a hybrid fire wielder at that. So he knows how to cause destruction, but he's still a nice enough of a guy to work with all the people that he needs to work with to make sure everyone's houses are fixed, everyone's taken care of, all that good stuff. I think that's great. Really solid for a character that honestly didn't get necessarily that much screen time relatively. I think he may have gotten like 15, 20 chapters at best. However, he's still a really good, solid, memorable character that has a great design, has a great ability. I don't get the mop thing, but the mop thing is amazing. I don't know. The design where he has like one arm out at all times and the other one's still covered, I like it a lot. Cornrow's cool too. Don't know much to say about him. Obviously, he's really just a supplementary character for Benimaru. And I think that's really it. Hibana, I found her beef weird. That's the only thing. Like, her beef was weird and then got flipped on its head so quickly. And I guess, do I transfer? No, I'm still in positives. I'm still honestly in positive. The fighting in the series slaps so hard. I don't know why. Like, I know this is an action series, so the fighting should be like commonplace. Like, something in me shouldn't be clicking whenever I see Shinra do a spin move into a like heel kick, but it slaps. One of my favorite moments in the entire series is when that one random twisted villain guy is like beating down on Tamaki, and Shinra drops through the roof and stomps his head in. Hello? That got me so unbelievably hyped. When Arthur realizes that he's wielding Excalibur in his left hand, flips it over, and like the evil artificial, no, not artificial, yeah, I think he was artificial flame humans like, come on, how dumb are you, you're so weak, do you think switching your hand, and then Arthur instantly one-shots him, fire, when the guy is sending out little explosions and then wondering where it comes from, and all Hinawa does is like, let me guess, fires his gun, redirects the bullets, and the bullets go spinning around and pop that man in the head and knock him out. It's all great stuff. Like, I honestly, out of all the major fights, I can't say a single one doesn't slap. Even when Shinra was being tested by that one Special Fire Force Brigade 1 member, I forget his name, Burns, I think his name is Burns, he slaps. Mainly because he gets slapped. Wait, no. Did he fight Burns? I think he fought Burns. Am I losing my mind? Did he fight Burns? Update, he did fight Burns, and it slapped. Like, there's these things, I don't know, this mangaka really knows how to draw fights in a very dynamic way that I seriously enjoy, especially fights that cater to the abilities of the characters within the fight. Why did I lose my train of thought? Arthur, with his sword abilities, fights characters that would be great against sword wielders, such as defensive ones, and characters you wouldn't expect to Arthur to just slice through, but he does. Shinra always goes up against opponents who tend to block with their arms, and for some reason the dynamic shot of someone raising up their arms or throwing their arms out to redirect his kicks, it's great. All of the times that Hinawa just pulls up with the piece on him and just goes, pop, 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 great. The fights in Fire Force slap, and they're fire. So, honestly, I can't think of a bad fight. Like, off the top of my head, I can't think of a time where characters were fighting and I was actively disappointed. So that's great. And yeah, that's really it. I can't really find myself going further about that without repeating myself. Obviously, high notables are Shinra versus the traitor guy. I forget his name. He was a traitor so long, but for so short that I can't really remember his name. I think that fight was good. I think Benimaru versus the demon was great. Those are just two that I needed to think of. However, regardless of that, let me move into the story. I think the story is pretty good. I like the mystery aspect of the story tries to do. I think it because of me being able to read it all at once that the spacing out of the mysteries doesn't do as well, because we get like the mysteries are supposed to last about 5 chapters or a chapter, and I don't have a wait. I just keep going and turning the page, and now I'm still just reading normally. So the mysteries tend not to hit for me, but I like the sort of build up of show still being alive, and like these external characters that seemingly have no relation to either side. Like, you have obviously the other brigades, which have their own narratives and side plots. Then you have the main empire itself, which has its own narrative and side plot, and then you have these characters that seem fully independent from both, which have their own narrative and side plot. Then you have the preacher in their entire group, which has their own narrative and side plot. And then of course you have Fire Force 8, or the Special Brigade 8. So that's like, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 different narratives all at once. If that's not 5, I can't count. But the thing is, I like all that so much because the series has all this there. It has all these really interesting aspects, but it doesn't feel cluttered. Like, that's one of the things I worry about whenever I hear a series or see a series or read a series that tries to tackle a lot of things at once. The typical problem that those series have is that they sort of overfuel themselves with so many aspects that the mangaka or the writer in general simply can't hope to fulfill in the time allotted that they have. So it usually becomes overcomplicated. But no, I understand the narrative very, very well because the mangaka knows how to space it out and how to let one thing lead into the other. Fire Force 8 through Iris read into Fire Force 5. I keep calling him Fire Force. Fire Brigade 5. And then Fire Brigade 5 led directly into them going back and meeting with Fire Brigade 1. And Fire Brigade 1 met and led into them meeting Benimaru, which led into Benimaru's plot. And now we're back to the main plot. So I think the author does a very good job of hopping from point to point in a very well executed manner. So far, I think it's pretty good. Will it change? Could it change? Yes, but I doubt it. I think they know what they're doing. And now, to shift to the negatives. Fire Force is an ecchi manga. And like, you know, I live and breathe, so I'm not surprised. However, the thing is, it's too much. Like, not I feel like this is a case where like the ecchi drives like takes away from the narrative, like for no good reason. Like, there's just at times it's like, here's the thing, it wasn't necessarily that bad, before Tamaki got introduced. When that character got introduced, I'm like, you just ran out. You just gave up. You really had to fill that quota, huh? And it's just been that ever since. And I'm like, why? What does this do? Especially since most of our characters are like of age, but like the two characters that have been ecchiized the most are like underage and stuff like that. So it's just weird. I'm like, why? What is this here for? Why is this here for? Why is it always them? I'm like, that's the big negative I have with the series. Story's great, character's great, fights are great, all that's great, and the art's great. I didn't mention that, but I think the art's pretty good for most of the time, but I'm gonna get into that soon. But that, just tone back on it. Hopefully your series tones back on it. I don't think there's been a moment that bad in the recent chapters, or just that one moment in the Benimaru arc. Please just tone back on that alone. I don't think it's needed. Like, I understand you have quota to fill, but like fill it in different ways. Make it more interesting. I know you can do it. Sounds so weird complaining about, oh, there's too much fan service in a Japanese manga. However, I'll complain about what I want to complain about. And speaking of complaints, sometimes the art's weird. Sometimes. Usually it's very, very good. It's either good or great. Like, there are moments where Shinra's drawn, I'm like, this is fire. This is great, and I think it's perfectly fine. However, there are other times where I'm looking at Shinra and I'm like, huh? What? When? Why? Like, it's usually it's when the author, I feel like, tries to leap out of their wheelhouse, which I understand. You got to do it sometimes. You can't consistently stay drawing the same thing, because you need to branch out and improve your skills. However, sometimes it just looks weird, like, especially when Shinra has those almost half-faced perspectives, or any character really has those half-faced perspectives where you're supposed to see both of their eyes, but it isn't a full-on frontal view, and like you're seeing part of the eye. Some of that looks weird. Even sometimes some of the just directly face on looks weird, and the main reason he unsettles me is because of his eyes are always wide open. But that's really it. Sometimes the art is a little bit off, and I think there's too much fan service. Unnecessary fan service, really. And do I have any other complaints? No, not really. I'm 52 chapters deep, so who knows? Maybe this all falls apart. However, I doubt it. I think it's kind of slapping right now. I think it's kind of smacking. If I get more Benimaru, I get more Benimaru, and I sing to the skies. But that's about it. Like, I'm excited for the rest. Please don't spoil me. That's it. Like, I have nothing else to say. But other than that, yeah. What do you guys think of Fire Force? If you've read it and completed it, or watched the anime, because I'm pretty sure the anime is farther ahead than I am in the manga, please tell me what you think about it in the comment section down below. Please don't spoil me once again. If I see a spoiler, I mean, you'll catch your boy crying, but nah, it's just, please don't. But tell me what you guys think about it. Do you enjoy it? Do you think I'm going to enjoy the rest? Do you think I'm not going to enjoy the rest? Do you think my complaints are going to get worse or going to get better? I feel weird talking about a series that's already out a lot, and I'm only 52 chapters deep. I want to do this. I find this is fun, especially since I read a lot of manga at the same time. Like, I'm not saying this kind of series will replace Showdown Saturday, but it may replace a lot of them, because I don't know, I like talking about manga incrementally as I read it. I wish I had done this with Magi. I would have loved to just talk to y'all about Magi after every major arc. And I may not do this after every major arc, but I don't know, I like talking about it. And you may see a lot more of these videos. But regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.